Okay. For those joining this live stream, we are talking about neural nets for version 12 of Wolfram Language, and we are hopefully at the late stages of dealing with this particular set of documentation and functions. Now, apparently, this is always a bad sign when it says some design inconsistency. Okay, so what is this about here?
So, Stephen, you see that we have basically these text image cases functions and text image contents. And while we were fixing the nodes, we realized that maybe it's a bad thing that we have the cases family that have input and then the rule syntax, while the contents family have the 3-argument form. It may be needlessly confusing.
Yes.
So we're just looking for some input if you have any preference.
Well, I mean, the contents family is new, right?
Yes. The text case is actually the only documented function.
Yeah, text contents, you mean?
Not text cases.
Text contents is also new in 12.
Right, but the
I mean, in general, the rule thing is more flexible because it means you can extract different properties for different forms.
Which is actually not true for text cases because it only supports one rule, and it's completely it's basically always a full matrix.
By the way, this should probably be renamed if we're going to do that linkage there, listing of text content types, then this should be renamed text content types, that guide page.
Okay.
In fact, when in doubt, just do it yourself. Okay. By the way, for those keeping track, this is the 200th live streamed software design review that I have done. And we will also be, during this, we're almost at 250 hours of live streamed content. That's exciting. One of those fine tweetable events. So that means I have to take 5 minutes and make a tweet sometime soon. Okay, back to this. So what you're telling me is that the text cases family, is there an inconsistency with the way that text cases works right now?
I mean, text casing on its own, it's doing its thing, and it's similar to cases that you have the first argument as what you are looking into, and the second argument as what do you want and what do you want to do with it, basically.
Right. So okay. So what is the argument against contents working exactly the same way as cases?
Oh, I have no idea. Actually, I'm not sure why we started with the 3-argument form of contents.
Yeah, and we probably need Jerome or Etienne or both of them for this discussion. Sorry, Julia and I just last minute this morning found out this inconsistency and wrote it down.
I think that it was because text content was, I mean, it began as a 1-argument function, then it became 2 arguments,
Yep.
and then 3 arguments, like one after the other. So we never had a final look at the design. We just incrementally tweaked it.
I would suspect we should just go forms arrow props here. Okay.
And we can always, that can always be supported in future, but not documented if it turns out there was a reason to go with the 3rd argument. So we can change our minds backward compatibly.
This hasn't been released though, so there's no issue here.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Okay. So why don't you
I'll talk to Jerome myself.
Okay. Okay. Let's go back to what you mainly want to talk about here.
There was also another thing. Like, okay, this was.
And what on earth is this about? Property arrow annotation. We were just going over stuff about entity value very painfully, by the way, I should say.
Oh, we were looking at other functions having the same structure, and we found that in entity value there was this note by you.
Yep. Currently, it supports property comma annotation, the 3-arc form in a sense.
Okay, you need to communicate that to Tony because we just had a big, messy discussion. About entity value.
Okay.
And another thing that was bothering a little also Jerome is that, for example, for image identify, we have this syntax which is input category, comma n, comma prop. So basically, if you want to specify the property, you have to go down till the 4th argument. Audio identify is new, has just been modeled after image identify, but image identify has been out for a while.
Yes.
So, I mean, I agree that it's annoying to go to specify, like, for example, all, comma, or all, comma, 1, comma, prop. If you want.
So what are you proposing? You're proposing we say all arrow probabilities?
I mean, we could backport the rule syntax and still support the 4th argument formed for backward compatibility, but support the rule syntax for image identify as well.
I don't think that's silly. I think it's a decent idea.
Great.
And another small thing is that we have this n argument, and we also have an option which is called either max items or max features. I don't remember why we have 2 of them. And that could in principle be used in place of the n argument, freeing up an argument, not just here, like in more places. The issue that Jerome was pointing out with this solution is that basically we have that n automatic as an argument gives you only one object without wrapping it in a list. And Etienne is usually pretty adamant in having in not having options changing the structure of the result, because basically if you specify any number for n, it will always be a list of results, maybe 1, maybe 10, whatever. But having n automatic can give you like just one result, similar to not giving anything. And this is similar to random real something or random real something, comma 1.
Yeah, I know. Right.
So I don't know. I agree with both things. That is, it's annoying to have just in this kind of feature extraction function to use one argument for the number of results, but is also consistent with the design in other places.
I want to show, various people on the live stream are asking about date extraction. We could just show, let's see what happens if we say text cases, and then we say date, arrow, interpretation, right?
It should be like that, yeah. But you should be able to get the date object just doing date.
No, the date, just giving date will give the string.
The string, yes, you're right.
We'll give the extracted string. Let's see how this does. Okay, meanwhile, what is this level thing?
Level is slightly different from what you're looking for in a sense, because it's you say at what level you want to look, in a sense that is like a block of text, a line of text, word, or characters. So it's not semantic, it's a structural thing, basically.
Yep, it's similar to the structural forms in text cases. We have word, sentence, paragraph.
By the way, for people on the live stream, isn't that spectacular that we can take the Wikipedia article for Chicago? This is all new code. The new text cases is vastly stronger. And yes, we will fix this thing about granularity, century and decade granularity there. I'm curious
if it is impressive, but I'm curious if that if most of those dates weren't already links in the non-pure text version.
No, they weren't links. Well, sorry. Well, let's see. What did this actually do? Let's see. Interpretation. Sorry. That didn't work.
Try drop the in. I'm curious if that does work. It would be even worse if that didn't.
Yeah. But that's a good linguistic, actually. The 12th of August in 2015 is probably a linguistic that may or may not have been, because most of our date linguistics have been for Wolfram alpha queries. That particular type of thing, which appears in text, is less common, and that should be reported to the Sushma. If you could report that to the guys dealing with the project between Alan and Etienne and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is this now?
That I think I sorted out with Jerome just shortly before this meeting. We were thinking about how you can get more nested categories, but actually he pointed out I never noticed that in text cases you can use a function in place of a property, and you can use, for example, key take and get a sub association instead of the values, and have a more structured result. I think that covers that point. I'm not sure is very well documented, but we can add examples with that.
Right. So Ethan on our live stream is asking about the custom image cases for image cases. So I believe, what are we going to support in 12? Image cases does not yet have image patterns, right?
No, not image patterns, but we can provide. I've worked packaging this region loss. So basically, when that is.
But what image cases does do is it provides. I mean, to make. If we go to image cases, it's dealing with you have now got the full training for multiple.
You need to get the CBS version.
Okay. Why is that saying bird species specification?
That's entity formatting.
Yeah, but why is that? So what you're saying is, wait a minute. You're saying, okay, that's getting all cats in that picture, right?
Yep.
Okay, so if I get, and by the way, whatever happened to getting animals as a category? Did we get that as a recognition class?
I'll have to look in the parser. But I have to push a better version of the parser soon. So I just made a note to check if it's
okay. Because, and by the way, the interpreter, we also need an animals interpreter, and right now, like random entity should be able to give you a random animal, not just a random species, which is mostly protozoa. That's a separate discussion, I think. Okay, great. Quack, quack. But that, if I say just birds, if I say bird there, okay, it's going to give the right thing. And if I were to say animal there, it's confused.
Okay. Yeah, because not all the basically the way I'm building the parser here is by reversing the content of all the concept entities that are in the ontology. So all these concepts, they have equivalent entities or common names. So if something is there, we didn't want to duplicate or to do any curation ourselves on top of the entity. So we are trying to fix the entities if we find inconsistencies. So I'll have to see why this animal string is not there, or if it is present in any entity.
Okay, so what happens if I do this? If I say image case, I just pulled this random image off the web. Image cases of that, comma, tree.
No, I don't think. I don't think it will have tree here,
Okay,
because
so,
this current network is much smaller than the one I'm training. I wanted to demo you a better network, but actually the accuracy is too low yet. So I'm still.
So how many categories is this thing going to have?
The one I'm training, I'm training two actually. One is having like the same categories of image identifier, okay. And one that I'm using to check what's wrong with the accuracy is having almost 1,000.
Okay, so for example, here, do I have any hope of picking out those creatures?
With the one with both, I guess. Yes. I mean, so you will get animals, and but is this
no, but right now I can't do it.
Oh
right?
no, right now no, it's not in the build.
Okay. So if I say, I just want to try something real here. If I say bird flock, I'm just finding an image of something. Okay, let's be. I'm going to be impressed if this works. Oh, why is it refusing to give me the image? Come on. Oh, for goodness sake. Okay. Let's see. This is both easy and hard, this case. Okay. So image cases of that, comma, bird. Drum roll. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it doesn't get old, eh?
What?
This is how cool some of the stuff is.
That is cool. Well, okay, so now let's say I want to find the positions of those birds. So now I say image.
You can either do image position of that, or bird arrow position, modifying the previous input.
Okay, so you say image position. Oops, why is my...
Yeah, you don't need to shout. It's gonna work anyway.
Okay, so it's subpixels because it's averaging things.
Yeah, it's the center of the bounding box. Actually, I could round it some less, some lower precision, but.
Wait, or so highlight image.
Okay, so it didn't get all the birds. How do I do that? If I take this and I say highlight image.
Yeah, highlight image, the image, and then you can copy directly that input as a second argument.
Okay, only one bird missed. Pretty good. Actually spectacular.
Do we have planet?
Oh no, yeah, I was thinking about that, getting the moon.
Okay, I mean, obviously this was a simple background, but it's still very impressive. Okay, so get us our 10,000 classes and we'll be thrilled.
Yeah, we should also update image identifier to get more classes then.
How do you mean? What do you mean?
It doesn't have 10,000 classes, image identifier now.
It's like 5 or something?
Yeah, I have to check. We have like 3,000-4,000 leaves, and then plus higher order categories. Sebastian, do you remember how many leaves do we have?
I think it was 3,200 or something.
Let's just try one more, just to see what.
Also, this data set that Julio's gotten now is vastly larger than what this network was trained on.
Okay, so when are we going to see this new training?
Oh, when it works well enough.
So that was not very impressive.
No.
So with that complicated background,
I'm not sure the background is also that you have way less features. They're all black. In the previous image, they had the internal structure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, Stephen, a part of this meeting was to make sure you see, you go through the 5, 6 pages one last time, the one Sushma has listed. We get the pages on Futurized, and then the training network we expect to, we should have it before that.
What is this extract layer stuff and so on? Is that something straightforward?
I mean, we think so. The thing to keep in mind is that, so this is really just the pre-net function version of extract. Right? It has the same semantics as extract. So, that ideally this layer wouldn't exist, that we would just have extract. So I don't think it's worth fretting too much about anything here. I mean, the design is straightforward and we're confident in the design, but it also won't last long. But we do need it right away. Otherwise, we would have waited until net function.
This is an obscure object. I mean, you're saying the input specifies whatever. I'm not thrilled about it. And your argument of it won't last long is never famous last words.
No, I mean, honestly, I don't actually follow. Like, if we weren't in a net function world, I would defend extract layer as perfectly reasonable. I don't know why you're not happy with it.
It just looks, I mean, it's just kind of complicated. Okay, ordering layer. What? You copied this from somewhere else.
From ordering.
Yeah, look, read what you wrote. It can't possibly be right.
Why?
That's
okay,
true.
It represents an ordering net layer that takes an input list.
Okay,
What?
I didn't.
Yeah, this is incorrect. So yeah, we need to fix that.
Yeah, this is just nonsense, if I might say so. And do you intend these arguments to be there?
Yes.
The arguments are just copying what ordering does.
Okay. Well, okay. You need to rewrite this. I mean, do you want me to try to do it, or are you?
No,
this
we
is not
can.
the form that. What is the closest thing to ordering layer that we have right now?
Ordering.
No. In layers.
Okay, sorry.
And is this knitted onto the neural nets page?
It's on the guide page. I'm pretty sure I did that.
Let's take a look. Yes, you do have ordering layer here, and you have extract layer, and you have transpose layer. So let's look. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Represents a net layer that gives. What do you want to say here? That gives.
That yields the ordering of the elements in the input vector it is provided, something like that.
That gives
It is more or less copied from ordering.
I know, but it's not right because ordering takes an explicit argument, but this does not. Right? So read what this says. Represents a net that transposes the first two levels, right? So this represents a net. Why does this say net? This should say a net layer, unless we're not doing that for most of these other ones. Right?
Yeah,
what's that?
Yeah.
Should say net layer.
Just
you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay. Represents a net layer that gives the positions. Well, gives the positions in its input at which. What the heck do we want to say here? That takes. That gives. Is it true that it gives ordering of
We can use the word effectively as a kind of hedge here.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Because really, this is, I mean,
Okay, what do you want to say then? What do you want to say?
That effectively gives ordering of its input. In other words, this is
effectively gives the ordering that gives the ordering of its input. Ordering of its input.
Ordering is a bit obscure. Like if there's a, if it says it computes the equivalent of ordering, then there's a reference.
But it gives the that effectively gives applies ordering to its input.
Which is a vector. That's another important thing.
Well, okay, so then what is this one? Which effectively effectively applies ordering of n, because I bet ordering is curryable.
It's not. I'm sure it's not, because ordering, I think, supports a vector second argument, so it would be ambiguous. But even if it does, no, it doesn't support a vector second argument.
But it isn't curryable right now.
It isn't curryable, yeah.
Effectively, well, well, it just gives the first n elements, doesn't it?
Yeah, the smallest n, the positions of the smallest n elements, essentially. Same as saying applies ordering hash n, right?
Yeah, but is it the same as saying take of the result of ordering, comma n?
Yes.
Okay. Gives the first n elements. In the ordering of its input. It's a little bit inelegant. Is this function also going to go away when we get net function?
This layer, yes, and that's. You see why we need to go this direction is that we can't add the whole language to.
Exactly.
We sure can't. No, this is completely crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fine. I mean, I think that's probably good. It's pretty horrifying, but it's probably good enough. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's go back over here. Okay. What else do we have to figure out? You want me to look at the image cases pages?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, gives an association of subimages for each. Wow, there's a one argument form of image cases.
You suggested that.
Yes.
All is good. Okay, so there's nothing in that image. That's kind of disappointing. But with these random geese or whatever they are, you're telling me that I should get.
You should get exactly the same thing. Now you get a different. You basically get the equivalent to putting bird in a list, because this.
That's a category. That's a bird category, as opposed to the previous thing, which was some kind of bird entity class.
No. What is the bird entity class?
Up in the original thing where you had this bird. If I do control equals bird, right? I'll get this bird by default. I'll get the
yes.
bird species specification.
But concept entities are not discoverable, but they are the output of the image identifier ontology by all decisions.
Yeah, but okay, but so wait a minute, wait. But how do they have to become discoverable to be used here, don't they?
You don't have, I mean, of course you can use them in input, but the point is that you don't have to use them in input. You can use either.
Okay.
But I mean, given that we didn't have enough flexibility at the time with entities, I don't know if it's still the case. We have this whole new concept thing that we are carrying along. And it is the language of the ontology now, basically.
I understand, but so are we merging the concept entities with the other entities, or how is that happening?
Not every concept has a.
I understand. Has another kind of entity, but what is there a plan for what to do with all of that?
Not that I'm aware of.
I think we should, when we're out of the version 12 thing, we should meet and talk about that. So if you can get that scheduled, it'll be a complicated discussion.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely possible.
So the one argument case, should it be returning an empty list? Shouldn't it return an empty association in that image that Stephen tried? The other harder, that one.
Yes,
I would think so. Why would it be an empty list here?
Yes, that's correct. Actually, I missed that case. That's correct. Thanks.
Sure.
One thing that I didn't put in the page because I noticed talking to Jerome 1 hour ago is that we should probably add the function property here as well. But okay, if you want to read the page when we reach that, I can tell you.
Okay. What does this mean? I don't understand this last one.
It says if you want to search for birds and cats, you get an association that says bird goes to subimages, cat goes to subimages.
Okay, but the way you're saying this gives an association. But and then there's also the case category I arrow prop, right? The list of categories arrow prop.
Correct.
Okay. Well, no, okay. So gives an association of.
I think category 1, the list category 1, category 2 should just show up in that first table.
Hold on. It gives a list of subimages identified as an instance. Okay, gives the specified property for each identified subimage. Fine. Okay, now here. Okay. This is saying that if you give multiple categories here, gives an association with lists of subimages corresponding to identified as being.
Or we could limit the first sentence.
Wait. Identified as being instances of each of the category I. Is that right?
Yeah. Of each of category I.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. What does this, wait a minute, attempts to find instances of an object category present in an image. Isn't that what this just said?
Yeah, Roger typically prefers we have a descriptive note on top rather than jumping to the tables and details.
Well, I don't think it helps to repeat what attempts to find instances of an object category Well, it's okay. It doesn't hurt anything. How can this possibly work?
Basically, we have, if you take, okay, maybe it's useful to do this. If you take one of those output concept and you do a property association of it, basically you see how this parsing is generated. It's all those things can be used as input.
I am really behind with meetings today. This is crazy. This is just a minute. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here. How much longer do you think we have here?
Not much, actually.
If you go through this one page,
you're happy with the design. Yeah, all the other pages are copy pasted.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
In terms of tables. So if you're happy with this, that's enough.
Okay, sorry. Let's property prop can be. Okay. Okay.
One thing I would like to add to this is to support a function in the list of property to do the same as what text cases is doing. I don't know how I missed that, but I think it's very useful.
What does text cases do?
Basically, when you have this prop, you can use a function, this function f, apply f to the association containing all properties. I think this also answer my issues about formatting the result.
Okay. All right, looks good. Are these pages knitted, by the way? Are these functions knitted?
I don't think they're knitted very properly. I have some tentative placeholders here and there. I'll look at all of them.
Yeah, the first note is what we have now discussed, so we just fix it.
This looks reasonable. Could you change this to any of the following? I hate one of the following since it's just
Sure.
What is this? Is that because it's using neural nets?
Yes.
Okay. Looking good. Okay, image contains Q. So I assume that this points to, oh, come now. Come on, you got to point this to text contents, presumably, as well. And what about to image recognize, to text recognize?
Speech recognize, you mean? Text recognize. Yeah, text recognize for sure. Find faces?
Definitely.
Yeah,
or
as
is
I
it
said,
facial features? Is it facial features rather than find faces? This one is facial features, isn't it?
Yeah,
Nope.
I mean this finds where things are by default, but you can use also to compute properties. We have a full list in image identify, and we were like looking at that before. We should probably use that as a template for all these functions.
Yeah, this should also talk about presumably text cases.
Yeah. We actually we haven't updated the C also, so like.
Okay, all right, fine. Image contains Q. Is found in image. Is detected in image. if at least one instance, is that right? If at least one instance.
No, all. At least one is the one for the input below. The least one is that you want all of them.
No, but at least one instance of all of the category I.
Yes, at least one of all, yeah.
At least one instance of each of the category I is detected. Okay.
So the last one should be at least an instance of at least one category.
It contains no. No, that's okay, isn't it? Image position. Don't forget to point that. You do, to highlight image. Well done, yes. As instances of the specified category, I think it should say. Well, should we say pixel positions? Are they pixel positions?
Yes. Image positions, rather?
Yeah,
if
we
you
have
want
these two coordinate systems, yeah, it's the image position.
Yeah, you've got to say what kind of XY positions they are.
Yeah, it's a second node actually, the coordinate system.
All right. Okay. Okay. Looks good. And image bounding box. I thought you had a reference somewhere here to image bounding boxes. No? Okay, image bounding box, I see.
No, we had image positions and image bounding boxes, and then you say that the ship has
So what should it be called? What is it
image
called?
bounding boxes, it is. And we'll have to fix that C also. Also, I think, Julia, a quick pass on those illustrations. I think we can do better than just the coordinate system for these guys.
No, yeah, we totally need real illustrations.
Isn't there a thing for bounding boxes for, isn't there another bounding boxes function? What is it called? Coordinate bounding boxes.
The bounding regions, you mean?
The thing that gives coordinate bounding boxes.
Bounding region.
There is a coordinate bounding box.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Contents bounding box. What is that? Doesn't have any idea. Bounding region.
No, that's probably something for visualization or graphics.
What is text bounding box? Why does this not have any of its documentation and so on?
Because you're just on
it's future.
them.
Yeah.
By the way, this spacing is just not right. Look at what happens here. There's more space there than there is between the sub pieces. I think that these sub pieces should have some kind of gray line between them. I think this is unreadable. Sushma,
Yeah.
that's for you to present back to the information/design folk.
Okay.
Okay, so is coordinate bounding box consistent with image bounding boxes? In other words, if I say coordinate bounding box of image bounding boxes, I should get back the bounding box around all of those little pieces of images.
I mean, you already get the bounding box with the image bounding boxes.
No. I mean that a bucket of image bounding boxes fed to coordinate bounding boxes should give me essentially the convex hull-like exterior bounding box of all of those things.
Does coordinate
No.
bounding box
Yeah.
does not take rectangles in.
Yeah, exactly.
We are returning a list of rectangle objects. I'm guessing if you do bounding region of those rectangles, I don't think it works now, but that's what should work.
Sorry, lost concentration for just a second. Could you say that again, please? I'm sorry, what did you just say?
I'm saying bounding region should work with a bunch of rectangles, but I don't think coordinate bounding box.
Okay, no, that I guess coordinate bounding box is different.
Yep.
Because it takes coordinates. But bounding region, which probably should be mentioned here. Oops. Okay, so gives an association of bounding boxes of image position bounding boxes. Is that what it is? Or are they rectangles?
No, they are rectangles. Yeah, exactly.
Then let's say bounding box rectangles. Or something.
Rectangular bounding boxes. Bounding box
I think.
rectangles. Yeah. We say in the first note that these things are coming back as rectangle objects.
Okay. Gives an association. What do we say? Because what we want to say here gives an association. How do we do this for image cases? We just had a reasonable way to say it. No, it should say gives an association of lists of subimages. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Looks good. All right. Can we declare victory here?
I guess so.
Yep.
Excellent. Oh, there's knitting, though, that you said that hadn't been done.
I can take care of that.
Are you sure? Okay, I would like to see it, actually, when you've got
Sure.
I'd like to see it. You could just try sending it to me in a
Yep. I'll send you a list of guides that I touch for this. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. See you. And people on the live stream, we're starting another live stream quite soon on a different topic. Oh, on Unity game engine interfaces. Okay. Talk to you all soon. Bye.